Ah, yes, the X230, a classic, beloved, and still really usable today. So let's see what happens when I use the X230 as my only computer for 1 week. Hi there, I'm TechDave, and today we're going to look at how all of this vast array of bizarre and wonderful things can be used to allow me to use the X230 as my only device for 1 week in the year 2022. Hi, so to start out with, we've got the base device itself. Now, there's a little bit of scuffing, a bit of damage, but I got it for £50 on eBay with a supervisor password. So this one, unlike my previous model, has a fully working screen and keyboard. It's very fluffy and it shows in this light. There's a little bit of damage here where the plastic got ruptured. Internally, we've currently got a 500 gig SanDisk SSD. That's and then the wireless WAN module. But other than that, it's missing. It's currently missing a battery, which we shall be purchasing on Monday for the latter half of this video. But for now, we've got no RAM in there, so that leads us nicely on to the next aspect. So over here, we've got two 8GB, 12,800 sticks of RAM, which takes us up to a total of 16GB. Then we've got various SIM cards. This is my Vodafone SIM card. We've got EE, and then we've got 3 as well, because 3 is the only one that gets 5G signal in my local area. And then I just wanted to try multiple of them, but I'll be using that as well. And then down here, up here, we've got the Ultra Base 3 docking station. Currently we're docking in the drive bay, but we will add to that this 1TB WD Black, I believe it is, or WD Slim storage drive. We've got power supply, we've got a lap desk, which will become more apparent once we go out to the shrine that I have, so say no more, you just see that later in the video. We've got a stand for holding it all together. Then over here on the left we've got some more on the go supplies. So we've got a nice JLab pair of Bluetooth headphones. That will become apparent why we've got that. We've got a TP-Link wireless adapter, because the max speeds on this built-in wireless adapter, I believe, is about 300 megabit. This one caps out at 800 or 900, and this device has very weak signal as well in the shrine, which we'll come to again later. So that's what that's for, to boost the Wi-Fi performance. And then over here we've got the traditional Project Morpheus, which is looking a bit like it needs a clean to me. And then 2 graphics cards. So we've got the NVIDIA Quadro K5200, which is 8GB for workstation and video editing. Then we've got the RX 488GB Classic. One day I'd like to have an RTX 3060 here, but that remains to be seen when we can afford that. But yeah, this is the basic selection of things I'm going to be using to enable me to use the X230 as the sole device I use for a week. I think it's quite feasible, I think it's quite viable, and you'll see all the different solutions over the next 7 days. So here's all the separate ingredients for this process, and 1, 2, 3. It's all constructed. So over there we've got the eGPU with the RX 480, we've got the laptop, the dock, the graphics card, we've got the Wi-Fi antenna, we've got the SIM card plugged in. Everything's ready to roll. So now we're going to do a little build to add to this a full gaming setup. Sweet. So from there we move down the hallway. By the way, this is my new house. It's epic. Just a quick sneak preview of like my wall of guitars that will come into play later. We've got studio where the X230 will be able to drop in there and then attach to this monster. We've got all the lovely things: saxophone, clarinet, Milo production. This was made by the big man himself. Should be there. The Tech Dad. And then we've got amps, we've got all sorts. And then over here will be the next thing that will feature, which is the gaming setup. So I'm endeavoring to get the RX 482 Eyefinity across all of these. As you can see, I'm just installing the drivers. because the SSD that was in there was in my server and will be going back in my server, but temporarily it is the X230 thing. So here we go. So we've got basically this is the gaming setup. So I'm going to get all of this working, get all the drives installed and do all the magic things that are required to do magically to make it work, and then you will see the end results immediately after this. Hi, so day one, gaming. We are on the X230, which is just around there, just back there, this thing, yeah. Right, I'm cheating slightly because I'm using my P51 to record, but the gaming is taking place on the X230. As you can see, I've managed to get a successful triple screen setup here. And the first port of call, as you may be able to see over on the screen, you may not, is Synergy, which is a Half-Life 2 multiplayer mod. So you can play Half-Life 2 and all the expansions multiplayer online with your chums. So soon, shortly, you shall see me playing this. The other plan is World of Warcraft, which they all track really nicely, all these games. The triple screens and are fully playable on the X230 with the RX 480 8GB graphics card. I'll also be doing Euro Truck Simulator, and then possibly, what else was on the agenda? There's another game I wanted to test, which was, Elder Scrolls Online and Crab Game. You may have played Crab Game, you may have played Elder Scrolls Online, but you're going to see some footage of me playing there anyway. So the other thing to mention is here, this is just the center screen because I don't have 3 capture cards to capture the triple screen setup, but the camera will be like this and it will be sped up and you'll see some footage, and then I'll give you a brief review in between each game probably, so stick around to find out more.
Confidence is a preference of the habitual gamer of the game that is known as. A longer route can be avoided if you take a speedrun of the game that is known as. Father before he's got brewer's brew. He's intimidated by all the dirty head crabs. They love a beer.
So as you can see, I've been playing Half-Life for quite some time, and these are the settings I've got it on. It's pretty much maxed out, except the bloom effect, because that doesn't seem to stay on. Apply. But yeah, I mean, it's running anything from 80 in really complex areas up to I mean, we're currently getting 220 frames per second, but I'm not really looking at anything particularly complex. It's averaging 80 to about 150 frames per second in Half-Life 2, all everything maxed out on episode 1 in Synergy, and I'm able to play online with no issues with that setting. So the next game I'm probably going to look at will be World of Warcraft, but for now I'm going to dive into a bit more Synergy. So next on the agenda we've got, as you may recognise from, we've got World of Warcraft, which is another one that I thought this is definitely going to run on the system, and it was a good idea to play. So I'm going to play some World of Warcraft and capture a little bit, speed it up, and you'll be able to watch again. Enjoy. yeah, in regards to World of Warcraft, managed to push it to maximum graphic settings for the game. I know it's not like that graphically impressive a game necessarily in this day and age, but it's perfect for this setup that I've got here because, well, yeah, it's just really enjoyable, especially on the triple screens. You get this massive field of view, and yeah, frame rate seemed to tank out once it got up to absolutely maxed out and go a bit glitchy, probably under 30 frames per second. But most of the time, I'd say it's probably sitting around the 50 to 60 frames per second on the kind of optimized settings I chose. So the next game will probably be Star Wars: The Old Republic. Probably not going to have time to get Euro Truck Simulator done, but what we will probably also, yeah, Star Wars: The Old Republic, and then maybe Crab Game as well. I think is still going to happen, and then maybe a bit of Elder Scrolls Online. So yeah, stick around to watch that. So next on the agenda is Star Wars: The Old Republic. I'm going to dive in and play this. Elder Scrolls Online, their servers are offline today, so I might include that in a bit. We'll have to capture that post day one. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, just if you could take a look over here. So I had to get Star Wars: The Old Republic and Elder Scrolls Online to load. I had to switch from triple monitors. The loading times, which is ridiculous. So yeah, so that's the thing. But I'm going to play some of this and then let you watch. So as you can see, relatively unstable experience. So I put it on the recommended settings for the game, and like the suggested settings by the game. I think the dual core here was holding us back a little bit because I was on high settings, and in combat it became really unstable frame rate wise. But it runs, it's playable. If I'd have limited it down to a low and low graphic settings, I probably could have made that a really stable experience. But yeah, in general, SOTOR does run. It's quite good. Star Wars: The Old Republic, great game. I was going to do the Elder Scrolls Online, which would be lovely because I love that game and it does run quite nicely on this. But the problem is, as you'll see in a second, the servers are not running today. And I've got more things that I wanted to feature in the video. So I think that's probably it for now. I assume the servers are still down. Let's just give it a second. But it does run, but again, similarly to Star Wars: The Old Republic, the triple monitor setup leaves it just takes forever to load, or I haven't had that issue with any of the games that aren't MMOs. Well, with the exception of, yeah, any MMOs I've been having trouble with getting to run at full speed. You can see that FPS up in the top right corner, so this is just wildly varying FPS depending on what settings you're on. So yeah, I think what I'm going to move on to now is finally day 2, which is music production, and I'll be making a little cover, which you've probably already heard because it was over the Half-Life 2 section. So see you in the studio. So this is the studio setup here. We've got drums, piano, multiple keyboards, we've got bass amp, bass cab, guitar amp. In fact, let's get off here and show you around the setup. So I've been playing a bit of piano. Oops, a daisy. Key station. And then over here, we've got the M Audio Project Mix IO. And that's all piped in via Express card and USBs. So I've got the 4337. Basically, it's the USB, the other dock that works with the X230, with the USB 3, which is connected currently to this cheeky hard drive here. And as you can see, I've been working on a project on the laptop. Seems to work surprisingly well. Let's have a listen. There's a little intro bit here. You'll have probably heard this track already. Here we go.
game of the game that is known as
Half-Life!
along the route can be avoided if you do a speedrun of the game that is known as Half-Life. Father before we stop Bruce Group, he's intimidated by all the dirty head crabs. They love him.
I need to add some more lyrics here as we go into the chorus. Show you around the studio. Half-Life! Half-Life! So yeah, I'm doing a Half-Life parody. And yeah, what can I say? So normally I use the T430, it's currently up here, just hiding away while we're doing this week of experimentation. But yeah, you can see it's not an overly complex track. But I didn't notice any stutters, didn't have to freeze anything. The dual core, like 2.6 gigahertz CPU, up to 3.3 or 3.5. It's held its own as a music production device, so I'd say that's definitely a win. It's compatible with all my hardware because it's on Windows 10. I've had no issue. I'm just trying to think what else I can show you, maybe play some piano, but I think for now I just want to show you that it does work, and like it's perfectly viable for music production. I've actually sold 2 X230s separately in the past couple of years, both as music production machines. There's a little basic setup to get people started, like a starter studio, and they're perfectly viable. They're not obviously like a hardcore music production machine, but they can do the job with Ableton and basic stuff, so it's like, it's pretty cool. Also, yeah, here's my grade 8. While I'm showing you my studio, I've got my music books there. Got my first year of my degree, I've got Milux Studios logo, I've got some little speakers up top, and then down here, we got the big bad boys. My wall of guitars, I think I showed you that earlier in the video. It's got my busking amp and my Fender. That sounds really nice when you drive it. I just thought I'd show you around the studio a little bit. Here we've got gaming peripherals. That's a bit of a mess, needs sorting out. All my video games collection. That's my, excuse me, terrible, awful. That's terrible, how dare you. LAN gaming supplies. We've got multiple Wii's, GameCube, Xbox, Crystal, which is custom modified. Yeah, I've got like cooking stuff. I've got a fridge as well. So yeah, that's basically a studio overview. I can say categorically that it's perfectly viable. As long as you're not doing anything just extremely complicated, it's absolutely been usable perfectly as music production little setup for the past couple of days. There's my scale wall as well. And yeah, that was about it. Cheers. So, I did originally film day 3 on day 3, but that footage was garbage. It wasn't very well made. So this is what we're doing here. I'm going to do this and you'll see some B-roll and footage. The first thing I want to talk about with the laptop is that, with the X230, is the 1080p 60 frames per second footage runs flawlessly. You'll see some footage here of stats for nerds running that we're working. 4K is not quite up to the challenge even on Ethernet. You get quite a few drop frames, it's a bit blurry, isn't really useful for 4K, but it's a laptop from 2011 I think, or 2012, and 4K. It has a 1366 by 76 screen, so it's entirely unnecessary. The next is typing. Like this keyboard, even with this keyboard, like a lot of people at this stage will be talking about the X220 keyboard, and if you want to see me making a video about me doing the EC mod, adding the X220 keyboard, just put it in the comments. I need to know if that's of interest, and then if it is, then I'll make a video about it, because I am quite keen to do that. But the chiclet style, like island keyboard that this has got, is actually really comfortable, and I think it's quite usable as is, and I quite like the design Lenovo used here. Like a lot of people take issue with it, but I'm quite a fan of it. and you can get the backlit keyboard. But yeah, it's really comfortable. Obviously typing on a track point is easy because you've got the track. Typing on a keyboard with the track point is easy because you've got the home row right next to the mouse, so you can just easily, quickly, never really leave the keyboard basically, so that's beautiful. The weight, let me just check because I did have this in my head and I've forgotten. I think it's 1 point. So weight of X230, 2.96 pounds or 1.34 kilogram. So that's extremely light, and then you'll see this thing you can and it'll fit in any bag pretty much that is actually usable as a bag. If you can fit a notebook in there, you can fit the X230 in there. It's extremely light. Even with the 9-cell battery, it's actually extremely light. It doesn't add a great deal of weight. I should imagine it's probably closer to about 2 kilograms, maybe 1.9, but I haven't measured it, so I don't know. And then the other thing is that the prices wildly vary on these. This is one thing I wanted to mention just at the end of this section. I got mine for £50 plus postage and packaging, but it had a supervisor password, only had 2 gigs of RAM, no battery, and yeah, I can actually make a video about how I remove the supervisor password if there's enough interest. Something I've been meaning to do anyway. You have to short something at this infuriatingly precise moment, just under the E key directly on the motherboard during boot. But if you want to see that video, let me know. But otherwise, I won't bother. But yeah, it seems from my average thing, it's 120 to 150 pounds plus. But you can buy the base device much cheaper, like I did, with really low specs, and then just upgrade them over time. So it's a cost-effective device. Now, if you compare this to like a Chromebook, which generally has less powerful hardware in the same price bracket, you're going to find that the Chromebook, especially because of the OS, especially because of the performance of the system on a chip style hardware, this is a much better bet. And as you'll have seen previously in the video and be seeing later in the video, like, there's not much that you would need to do on a Chromebook that you can't do on this device. So that's the gist of day 3, which was admin, office and productivity. Now we'll be moving on to day 4. So see you there. So day 4, I'm in a delightful park. A little bit overcast, but pleasant. Perfect conditions for a matte screen that's not that bright because I've got it on battery saver mode. It won't let me switch the brightness. So yeah, I've got Shadow here. I did an update on Windows 10 to Shadow, and now it just hangs there and then goes to a screen requesting keyboard selection and doesn't work. So for now, even though I said I was going to Shadow, I'm going to do GeForce Now, and we're currently on the built-in 21 megabits per second HSBCA 4G Vodafone card, and then we're going to go to settings in GeForce Now and then scroll down. I'm going to put that up to probably like a bit below the max bit rate. And got it on the native resolution of the laptop, 30 frames per second. Let's see if we can get 60 actually. And then if you say test network conditions, it'll say not to use it, but it still works. So we're just going to briefly test Cyberpunk. Analyze the network, say it's not viable, but then still let you do it. Also, my family, who are sitting very patiently and quietly. Look, it's Tech Jen. The Mason Bradley. I appreciate the silence, it's very kind of you. Just turn off battery saver for now.
I might want another one of these.
So the new battery said it wouldn't charge, but actually it does hold charge and charges up. It doesn't last as long as I'd hoped. But it was only £35, so I can't complain. And let's go into some Cyberpunk. And once I've just shown sort of this working, then I'm going to do completely different settings using the phone's 5G connection, just to demonstrate, well, that it works, basically. Let's just load. Come a bit closer. There we go. So it's perfectly stable on 4G, 1366x768, RTX on in performance mode. You're getting a lot of reflection off the screen from the sunlight, but in person it's completely pleasant. If you look just here, like you can see there's a bit of like feathering and kind of imprecise. But what I'm going to do now is switch over to 5G and max out all these settings and see what we get. So if I press this, I can show you. So I've USB tethered my phone. Network 8 is my USB connection for my phone, which is on 5G signal at the moment. We've got a custom 34 megabits per second, 1080p, 60 FPS. Let's just max it out and see if it's stable. 50 megabits per second, so that's like the highest of everything we can do for this. And then we're going to load into Cyberpunk again. See what this says. You may experience such a high latency. I'm going to continue anyway. Let's wait for that to load in. Space continue. And yeah, that is dramatically better. It might not be obvious on the camera, but all the text is like the correct. If you zoom into that a little bit, a bit over to the right there, really sharp and clear, no stuttering, no noticeable latency or input lag at all. But my 5G goes up to 300 megabits per second download and like 100 and something up. So this is spotty connections came up in the top right there. I'm not noticing any. Obviously, if you're playing a single player game, this might not be viable. But a non-single player, like a multiplayer, it wouldn't be very good because of the latency introduced with the cellular connection. But it looks absolutely perfect and stunning and fresh and crisp to my eye, so I'm extremely pleased. So that's day 4, I guess, successfully completed, except some of the little bits that I might tack on at the end. Bye. Okay, so for day 5, we're going to leave the inside world and wander all the way down the hallway into, oh, what's this glorious glowing light here, through the epic sized kitchen, which you've seen already now. This is turning into a bit of a studio tour, all this, isn't it? New house, the garden, I don't know whether you can get that with the lens flare, but it's absolutely stunning. And then this just looks like an ordinary shed. Just a shed. I don't know if you can hear that music coming from it. Let's get in the shed and see what's there. Oh, lovely wall hanging. And look at this. Oh look, we've got an esoteric library. We've got, let's lock the door as well with the little latch I put on it. But actually my delightful partner did that for me. There we go. Latched. So we've got a kettle, we've got Buddhas, we've got a whole library of books, we've got a selection of fine teas, another Buddha, and then we've got, it's hard to get enough space to show this, but we've got 2 armchairs, the X230 tucked in here. We've got some religious iconography, we've got some calligraphy and pens and writing for my other channel, Schizophreniform, and little cups for this green tea here that I just made. So, green tea, with little glass cups, there we go. So it's my little shrine, basically, for chilling, writing, reading, listening to tunes, being relaxed. So, as you can see, there's plenty of space in here. Perfect time for a green tea. The perfect time for a green tea. My little kettle in this moment. Well, the reason we're in here is so that I can demo this setup. So, this is like a great place to write scripts and to work on stuff. So, what did I want to show? We have my OneNote. Yeah, so still working on that novel.
How you coming on that novel you're working on? Huh?
And there's some battery saving techniques. We're gonna just show this basically. This is what I wanted to show you, and then I'm going to switch over to a position where you can see the laptop, and then I'm going to show streaming quality of Netflix, Disney on Wi-Fi and 4G. So I don't know if you can see that, but I've got the external dongle there because that is a bit, you get the TP-Link dongle gets a bit more range, and what else? Bandwidth than my built-in Wi-Fi. So that's a solution that I'm using at the moment, but eventually I'm going to run Ethernet in here. I was going to show you me watching some TV via Express card, but the DVR software I used didn't work, and I don't want to use that anyway because I don't really like watching TV. So I'll switch to it over here, and then you can see what's going on. Here we are on the laptop. You can see just about a little short story that I'm working on.
Got a compelling protagonist? Yeah, got an obstacle for him to overcome? Yeah?
So this is perfect for that. And then if we bring up browser, so we barely had any signal or connection on Wi-Fi here either, on the built-in connection, but now we've got 3 bars on this router. So what I use this shed for, and the X230 is perfect for, if we go to battery mode here, so we've got 2 hours 9 minutes, it jumps up to 4 hours there. See all this trippy stuff I've been watching. And I can just stick tunes on here, or I can use the 4G. Actually, let me mute that because I'll get in trouble for that. We can use the 4G connection as well, because that is actually, if you look over here, when it connects, you get 4 bars out here in the shed as well. So in theory, I could game out here. I could do anything that I've showed previously in the video remotely from here, because I've also got, I think it's not open. Yeah, it's not open, but I've got Parsec, which randomly I managed to win a Valentine's Day contest. That's my novel. Still working on that novel.
Roy Bruin there, working on that for quite some time, huh?
I need to log in, but like I can Parsec in with touch support between all my machines, which is pretty cool, because I won 3 months free Warp. Warp is great, I highly recommend it. Let me just close that. So yeah, that was all I'm able to show you really. I was just gonna stream some Disney Plus or various things, but there's other things you can do in the battery. I've showed this before, but like you can go to a power saving mode. I showed this on a different device. Change plan settings, and to advanced power settings, and then you make the maximum processor state 50%, and you'll see there, if I bring up Task Manager now, that the CPU is locked to, it should be locked, 46%, so 1.2 gigahertz. Sorry about the flickering. It changed when I changed the brightness. But yeah, as you can see, I'm using like just under half CPU processing, and that should in theory increase my battery life. Once it's adjusted, that figure there will go up quite a lot. Meaning I can sit in here without power. I do have power over there and up here, but it's just nice to be able to run just on battery power and put the battery through its paces. Whoopsie daisy. So in theory, even if the power goes out, yeah, there you go. 3 hours 26 minutes is what we've got on battery saver with low CPU usage. And if you're just watching TV or listening to tunes or watching YouTube, like, there's absolutely no problem with having limited processor state, because it doesn't really use that much. RAM is more important in a situation like that, and this has currently got 16 gigs of RAM. So day 6, here we are. So we're moving once again down into the garden through the glorious, lovely and clean kitchen. And what have we got? We've got what I could use as a busking setup with the garden as the background. So in theory, I'll put this on this stand here that I've set up. Probably move it back quite a bit. And then this is what you would see if I was busking on the street. This kind of setup here. And so I've got the laptop running on battery power there. I've got an M box with the microphone going in. I've got my M audio keyboard. I've got the busking amp. I've got stool and I've got everything set up. So this all runs on battery power. I'm either going to do a little clip of me playing or just leave it at that. But here we go for a bit. So this is my busking setup. The only difference from what you just saw is because that was a video recording. Well, I'll include a link up here to the video I made. You might see a brief image of it. The only difference in this setup is I would have over here on the tripod a cable coming out of my phone, which has got a USB audio source, a USB audio connector just in, which I can add, and then that would take the other line out of here so that the audience could hear via a stream. So digital busking is what I had in mind. It's pretty cool. Woof woof woof. So on sunnier days in the summer, that's going to be happening quite a bit, but that's pretty cool. And the X230 has got more than enough battery life. Plus, if I wanted, I could run an extension cable out here. The other thing is I can take this to the middle of the woods. Do you know what I mean? I could do this anywhere because it all runs on battery, and film some epic shit, which I'm thinking about doing. So that's my day 6 complete. I've got to do the video editing for the video, but that'll be done on Shadow internally. So I'll pack all this away and see you in the next part of the video. So it's the end of day 6 and I couldn't sleep, so I did all the basic edits for all the other sections on the laptop in my living room while everyone was asleep. So all I needed was the Ethernet cable for a guaranteed stable connection, some headphones, and the X230. Glorious. So this is just rendering day 6, busking in the garden, which you will have just watched, which is funny to me, even though, yeah, that's funny. So you will have just watched that section. This is the beginning of the next section. And yeah, it was a really fluid experience, video editing on Shadow. I had no issues with it at all. Using the track point to video edit was actually pretty novel and worked very efficiently. So I don't know what else to say at this stage, but what I'm going to do is, probably after this, you'll see some footage of me putting all the parts that I've now pre-edited together, either later tonight, which would be tomorrow. Well, it's already tomorrow. It's like 4 in the morning. Hence my confused and delirious speech. But yeah, basically it was perfectly viable to use it as a editing suite. So I just installed DaVinci on my Shadow PC, so that was cool. So I've decided, after much faff, to add my 2133 megahertz RAM and see if this works. HyperX Impact beastly RAM. I've also now modified the EC, so I've done the EC mod to remove the battery whitelist, which means that finally an issue which I've been dealing with since the battery arrived is resolved, which was that it said that it wasn't the correct battery and that it wouldn't charge, but it would actually charge, but it wouldn't. It would just randomly shut down, randomly cut out, meaning that it wasn't really usable as a battery, because it got amazing battery life, but it was useless because it would just turn off at random. And that appears, touch ThinkPad, to have been resolved by the EC mod. So I'm just adding this 2133 megahertz RAM. Hopefully that'll work. We'll see in a second. But yeah, it's been one hell of a week, basically, in a really fun way. Like, the very fact that you can use a device from 2012 and with a few little bits of software, all of which is listed in the description, all of which is featured in the video, you're able to, let's have a see if this RAM works. Focus. There we go. Does the RAM work? It appears to work. 6. We got. So I moved down to an 8 gig kit temporarily because I was actually only borrowing my partner's RAM. So I was using 2 4 gig 10600 sticks, and now we've got 16 gigs of 2133, which appears to be working. And let me just turn away a second. I got an absolutely whomping with my custom power settings that I displayed earlier in the video. I managed to get, at one point, a projected battery life of 10 hours, but then immediately, obviously, I started using that. See, that flickering started because of the refresh rate of the monitor being limited. But yeah, I've basically got the EC mod to make the battery work. So at 84%, we got 4 hours left. I've got another one coming in the post, but I shouldn't have to modify my hardware so that their batteries, which they claimed were legitimate and would work with the X230, would actually work. So I think that's fair enough. But yeah, like, I'm really just, I've had so much fun this week with, let's just see if the RAM speed is correct. Let's see, performance. Let me just switch that off, that power saving mode, so it doesn't flicker for you. There we go, it's not as bad as flickering now. As you can see, I've now got 16 gig DDR3, 2133 megahertz. Badass. I didn't realize that would work. That's from my T430. And I think, to be honest, like, I'm probably going to just continue using this laptop quite a bit because I really like it. It's a cult classic. It does, oh look, 5 hours 48. Sweet. It's a cult classic, and I can see why. Do you know what I mean? It's like a really good system. So the only thing left for me to do is to do the final edit of this bit and any other video editing footage that I've captured. But yeah, let's see if I can get this nice and stable. Thanks for watching. I'm TechDave. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon if that's the sort of thing that doesn't annoy you. And share this video with anyone that you might think would enjoy it. Yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.